If you're a graphic designer, you know the last few years have been, well, a whirlwind. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a really clear, actionable vision for what your career looks like in 2026. Let's get right into it. First things first, let's just tackle the elephant in the room, right? The big question that's on literally everyone's mind. With all these tools that can spit out incredible visuals from just a few words, is the graphic designer going extinct? It's a real fear, for sure. But the answer, well, it's not what you think. The answer is no. Absolutely not. AI isn't here to replace you. Think of it this way. It's here to promote you. And this is probably the single most important mindset shift we're going to talk about. All the tedious, time-sucking parts of the job, they're getting automated. And that frees you up for a much more strategic, high-impact role. So what does this promotion actually look like in the real world? Well, your job description is being rewritten as we speak. You're not just a creator anymore, you're becoming a director, a curator, and a strategist. I mean, just look at the contrast here. The old role was all about execution, right? Mastering the tools, pushing pixels around until they were perfect. But the new role, it's all about direction. You are now the creative director of a whole suite of AI tools. You're the curator, sifting through dozens of machine-generated options. And you're the human quality controller, the one who makes sure everything has emotional intelligence and actually aligns with the strategy. You've basically been promoted from the how to the why. And this whole promotion idea works because there are these fundamental, core skills that AI, for all its power, just can't replicate. These are your new superpowers. This is your competitive advantage in a world that's just flooded with generative tools. And here they are. We're talking about strategic thinking, understanding the real why behind a design project. Emotional intelligence, infusing work with cultural context and nuance that a machine just doesn't get. Ethical judgment, deciding what should be made, not just what can be made. And of course, the big ones, storytelling and managing real human-client relationships. This is the stuff where human insight is, and always will be, irreplaceable. Okay, so we've established your new strategic role. Awesome. But let's be real, to be a good director, you have to know your tools inside and out. So it's time to get practical and look at the new toolkit you really need to master. Your new AI toolkit really breaks down into 3 key areas. First up, the generative assistants. These are your creative partners, like Adobe Firefly and Midjourney. Then you've got your specialized tools that solve very specific problems. Think Chroma for color palettes or UseArt for quickly mocking up UI wireframes. And third, and this one's a game changer, workflow automation. We're talking about using custom GPTs or tools like Zapier to automatically resize a whole suite of assets for social media, saving you hours of mind-numbing work. And all of this builds into a totally new workflow. It's kind of like a dance between you and the machine. So AI can analyze the brief and spit out dozens of initial concepts. Then comes the most important part, the human step, curation. You step in and select the best directions. Then AI iterates based on your choices. And then you step back in for that final human polish that adds all the emotional resonance. See? It's a partnership, but you're the one leading the dance. Now, with this new process, some specializations are starting to pop up where that human touch isn't just a final polish, it's the whole shebang. It's the entire value proposition. These are the serious high-growth areas for designers heading into 2026. This chart lays out 5 huge areas where you can provide massive value. We're talking building dynamic brand systems that actually incorporate AI, or specializing in UI/UX for AI interfaces themselves, or even developing really niche aesthetics, like a super specific kind of retrofuturism, for example, that AI just struggles to nail on its own. But I want to zoom in on one role here that is becoming so important. And that's the brand safety and AI quality auditor. This job is absolutely critical. See, AI models are trained on these massive generic data sets. They have no idea what a specific brand's voice or safety rules are. So as a designer, you can specialize in auditing all that AI output to catch anything that's off-brand, factually wrong, or just doesn't meet the client's high standards. This is a level of nuanced, brand-specific judgment that a machine just doesn't have, period. Okay, this all sounds great, but how do you actually get from here to there? I get it. The future can feel a little overwhelming. So let's just break it down into a concrete, year-long action plan to get you ready for 2026. Here's a super simple roadmap. Quarter 1, you just focus on getting familiar with everything. Master the main AI tools, build up your own personal prompt library. Then in Quarter 2, you specialize. Pick one of those high-value niches we just talked about and go create some really powerful case studies. Quarter 3 is for a technical deep dive. Learn how these systems really work, maybe even play around with some APIs. And finally, Quarter 4 is all about business integration, coming up with new service offerings and totally refining your client process. See, it's a manageable step-by-step approach. So, and this is crucial, your services and your pricing have to evolve too. You're not just selling a logo for an hourly rate anymore. Nope. You're offering things like AI-assisted design director services on retainer. You're selling custom prompt libraries and workflow consulting. This is what lets you shift to value-based pricing because you're reflecting the huge strategic impact you now deliver. So, what's the big payoff for mastering this new reality? Let's start with speed. The execution part of your work, the part that used to take days or even weeks, that can now be up to 10 times faster. I mean, just imagine delivering initial concepts in a few hours, not a few days. And that incredible speed leads to a straight-up explosion of creativity. You can now explore 100 times more creative directions in the exact same amount of time. You're no longer limited by the hours in the day. You're only limited by the quality of your ideas and your skill in directing the tools. And honestly, this right here is the real prize. All this new efficiency frees you up. You get to stop focusing on that tedious 90% of the work, the endless masking, the resizing, the tiny tweaks, and instead, you get to pour all your energy into the 10% of the work that actually delivers 90% of the emotional impact and strategic value. This whole thing really leads to a new mantra, a really powerful way to frame your new role. It's this: AI handles the what, I handle the why. AI generates options, I make decisions. You're the strategist, you're the decision maker, you're the ultimate judge of quality. So the question isn't, will AI take my job anymore? The real question, the one you should be asking yourself, is this. A promotion is sitting on the table, the tools are right there in your hands, and the director's chair is empty. Are you ready to direct?